Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our trading room. It's Monday morning. The market's just opened, and things seem to be a little bit on the quiet side for a market open. You should be able to see my screen. For those of you who are new in the room this morning, welcome. What you're looking at is the diversified trading system. So we have the Hawk Scalper here in the top left, the Falcon Swing Trader top right, Eagle Trend Trader bottom left, and the Raptor on the bottom right. These charts that you see here are the NASDAQ. On my other monitor, I have got crude oil and the E-mini S&P. But if there's a market you would like me to take a look at for you, by all means, let me know. Let's take a look at what's been going on in the overnight. Not a whole lot. You see this right here? Big run up on the NASDAQ at the end of last week, and now the market really hasn't done a whole lot. So that's odd. A lot of times that's a little bit of a bearish bias, but we'll see. Okay, the Raptor here is setting up for a bit of a double pullback into the hard edge, so that's entirely possible. It is just the open, right? I'm trying not to get too excited. The market's only been trading for a couple of minutes. Yeah, okay, there goes the Raptor. Okay, well, we're kind of getting a little bit of a first micro-macro cross here in the Hawk, but not yet. All right, we're getting lots of stuff going on now. Lots of chop. So is everybody hungover from their Oscar parties last night? What's going on? I don't think there's any big reports out today, but I could be wrong. Okay, so here comes the Raptor now with a buy signal out of this range. I'm hoping it's going to fail because what I'd really like to do is I'd like to take it above these highs here. All right, there we go. It is starting to head the other way. Getting a comparable signal here on the Eagle. And just like the Raptor on the Eagle, I'd rather take it above this ATR. Let's see if I can dial down the risk a little bit. If it looks something like that, well, it's possible. Here we'll mirror the trade on the Raptor. And what I'll do is I'll just go in with a onesie. Now my stop strategy is going to have to flip over if prices get up here, so I'm okay leaving the stop strategy on. It will automatically adjust itself. Fred's asking, hi Eric, my Eagle trend does not look like yours. Is there an updated version? Um, no, as far as I know, there haven't been any updates to any of the DTS tools. Are you referring to this band through here? Okay, well, I'm not going to make any changes now that we're in this trade, but once we're out of the trade, I'll check the settings. Oh, actually, I can do it on the other tools. Here's the problem now. We've got the sellers kind of beating up on us. And we've got actually the NASDAQ and the stock market kind of at odds with each other yet again. Fred's also asking, what is the Raptor? Well, Fred, the Raptor is the latest addition to the DTS assortment. The Raptor is actually a combination of the other tools. So we've got elements of the Hawk, Falcon, and Eagle in here. And you can see the default colors are blue and pink. I know that annoys a lot of people. I only do it so I can keep my tools straight, but you can change the colors here. Okay, it almost looks as though I could have gone in with a tighter entry. Of course, the real obstacle is the overnight high or yesterday's high. Oh, the dark blue line on the Eagle. Okay, I got you, Fred. This is the ATR line, and what I'm going to do is I can bring over. I'll bring over here the E-mini. This ATR line is actually part of your assortment. Mike Filigera is the fellow who put me onto this. And it's, actually we're getting a buy signal here in the Eagle as well on the ES, which I'll go over in a second. All this is the ATR line, and Mike Filigera, he was using it as a filter to postpone his entry. Now the ATR, when it's bullish, is blue. When it's bearish, it's red, and I'm going to show you how you put that on. You just go to your indicators, and then you roll down here to all your IW tools, and you're going to see one that says IW TM ATR Trail. And that's really the tool that Trade Manager uses to plot your ATR stops. However, if you double click on that, it's going to appear down here in your assortment. And these are just the default settings. It's a 14 length 2-period multiplier ATR. And you can just apply that to your charts. If you don't have that in your assortment, then contact Ben. I'm going to shoot everybody Ben's email address. If you don't have it already, it's support@indicatorwarehouse.com. This version I have is version 3.0.6. Yes, well, okay, Fred's saying my ES 8-tick Eagle shows candle still green. Yours is red. That's because on instruments that are trading at 1250 a tick or greater, I actually dial down the brick sizes. So for the Hawk, I run a 4-tick brick. On the Falcon, I run a 4-tick brick. And here on the Eagle, I run a 6-tick. for instruments that trade at $10 a tick or less, I go with the default settings of 6, 8, and 12. That would be 6 on your Hawk, 8 on your Falcon, 12 on your Eagle. But for instruments that trade at $12.50 a tick or greater, we dial it down a bit. We go with a 4, 4, and 6. Yeah, no problem, Fred. Fred says, sorry, yours is 6 tick. My mistake. Yeah, we don't normally adjust brick sizes very much, but that is one thing that we will change. It's because if I didn't dial down the brick size, which you probably noticed, is that you're going to be getting session breaks like this. Like these are going to be entire days, and you're not really going to get anything tradable. If you're looking at your chart and your chart looks like that, that means your daybreak lines, or your brick size, pardon me, is too large, and you need to dial it down a little bit. And of course the opposite is true. If you're getting moves where you're getting huge moves and your time chart underneath all reads the same, like let's say it said 401, 401, 401, 401, 401, 402, 402, 402. If you're getting too much activity too quickly, then your brick size is too small. So for those of you who are trading the stock market, like if I put up an Apple chart here, this brick size would be far too small. It would just explode across the screen. Signals would develop so quickly I couldn't take any signals. All right, so the E-mini waffling a little bit, the NASDAQ kind of going flat. What I would like to do is I'm going to hold my stops below these lows. So I'm going to hold my stops just down there because that's obviously the support area. I'm going to try to do the same thing here on the Raptor. I'm going to dial my stop back just a little bit. We kind of knew this was going to be a difficult trade. And you know what? I'm going to mirror what I'm doing on the Eagle. We'll take it right down there. Give the buyers a chance to show their intentions. Right, you stinkers are going to tag me here in a moment. Come on, buyers, where are you? Well, the buyers are trying. We're definitely range bound here at the moment. Could be a while before we actually get a serious tradable formation. Things are looking a lot weaker again at the moment. Even crude oil's kind of going sideways at the moment. All right, here comes the E-mini with a trend change signal to the downside. The signal actually tripped right here. There's also, in hindsight, I can see it was also a late filter entry signal, which tends to be fairly reliable. Okay, while I'm waiting for that, I'll get to Micah's question. Micah asks, if I place a profit target and stop loss, can I move them up or down when the trade is executing? Yes, absolutely. You see here, I can grab my stop and I can dial it back a little bit. Or if I want to increase my profit target or decrease it, I can do that also. But only once the trade goes live. If you're setting up a trade, let's say we're setting up a trade like this, and I don't like my parameters, I can't adjust anything yet, right? Because the trade's not actually there. You can see from the hawk we're very much congested. A lot of yellow bars through here. I'm curious. Oh yeah, well, Trade Forecaster says we're in scalp mode. Oh, we're going to be in scalp mode for about the next hour. Doesn't that sound like fun? We do have the trend in our favor, the immediate trend anyway. And it looks like the market is respecting the trend line, which is good for us. Fred's asking about the trend change signal. Sure, Fred, let's go back here. The trend change signal quite simply occurs when your trend line changes color. This is on your Falcon tool. So your trend line changes color, and it's pretty much the first signal where everything is all in sync. Let me dial this back so we can pretend it's happening real time. So here we go. Trend line changes from green to red, signal fires, everything is all in sync. We've got red trend line, red bars, red signal, red filter. Normally we see the trend change signal. It looks more like this, where the market is coming out of a defined trend. It's not so much in these little intermediate swings. So in this case, we've had a defined trend lower, and now we get the trend line changing color, and here is our first signal where everything is all in sync, right here. Now, some of you are going to look at this and say, well, Eric, isn't that a late filter entry signal also? Yes, it is. Now, the late filter entry signal occurs when the filter goes out of sync, but the trend line does not. Then everything comes back into sync. This tends to be a very high probability signal. And you can see it had a very nice result. A little while later, there was another late filter entry signal. Filter goes out of sync, trend line does not, everything comes back into sync. Tends to be a very high probability signal. So here we are now with the E-mini, and it's kind of the same thing, except we had a short-term trend change signal right here. So our trend line did go green, then it came back red, and we generated a signal. And yes, this was also a late filter entry signal. See, the trend line did not go out of sync. The filter did. Everything came back into sync. Now, I hope you can see that this setup with this itty-bitty trend change through here is not quite as well defined as this trend change back here. This is one that is going to be a higher probability than the one that we were looking at recently. But don't forget what all these swings and prices are showing you also, right? They're showing you that, okay, there was some buying support going on right here. The buyers tried to rally the market. Sellers started knocking them down again. So now we essentially have a downtrend line that looks something like that. Sellers pushed the buyers a little lower, but not a lot. Buyers started coming back again. So very much a tug-of-war type situation. Now here on the Eagle, we're actually producing a hard edge bounce and a red bar buy. Now this is another signal which we know to be fairly reliable for our Eagle. And this one, I might take it just one tick above that bar. I can risk it below here. So you can see it's a fairly tight trade. And I don't think I'm going to hit my profit target. I should adjust my profit objective because this is the E-mini and I only need 16 ticks out of this to hit my high probability target. So essentially what I'm looking for now is a test of the extreme, right? Before this market can reverse, I should see the market challenge the highs. So right now we're in this mode right here. I should see the market retest the highs and fail before it can head lower. So right now I'm looking for this opportunity here. We're in this segment of the trade and I'm looking for this. So that's why I'm considering buying just above this high off of this red bar buy. Now the red bar buy in the Eagle, this is unique now to the Eagle, tends to be a reliable signal. It's a red bar buy off of a hard edge bounce. So the market trades into the hard edge. We know that there's going to be some sort of reaction when we hit the hard edge. How big the reaction will be, well, that we don't know. So we're looking for an opportunity now, like I said, to test the extreme and maybe get a little bit of profit here before this market turns over on itself, if in fact it is turning over. So we're getting a little bit closer, just a couple of ticks higher yet, and the E-mini will bring us into a buy. Structure-wise, this trade isn't too bad because I know where the buyers have dug in, right? The buyers are digging in here at 2100. That's where they've decided, okay, well, this little bit of a slide that the market is in, that's where we're going to hold the line. But the market is very, very quiet. So this is not your best looking scenario. All right, so here we go. Let's see if we start tripping up some of the sellers and get some buyers joining us. As we get closer to these little swing highs that we've seen from the overnight and even this morning's open, chances are that we're going to see the sellers try to beat up on us again. If we can get above, say, 2105, we should be in good shape. Or even if we could get to 2105. I have to admit though, even though I'm currently long, everything is looking very bearish at the moment. And the fact that the buyers are struggling to get higher, that's not a good sign when you're long. Just checking on the NQ trades here, we're still kind of floundering a bit. Hoping to see the NQ get back up here to 44.43. And I'm seriously considering getting tighter with my stops as it gets higher. Well, here they come again. Boy, oh boy, what a tug of war. Right in the middle of the whole mess. Well, they're still sorting things out again. I have a feeling if the market could continue like this for a little bit and not really start shaking up until this afternoon, that's the way it goes sometimes. Yeah, well, we kind of figured that would happen. They weren't really prepared to go any higher, so they're making a run now, checking out the support. So we'll see now whether the buyers come back in. Okay, so here's our hawk. You can see this big mess that we had. Now that we've broken outside of this, we can hope to see a retest of sorts. Hope to see the market come back, retest it, and then head lower. So now that we've broken out, we're looking for the buyers to tip their hand, show us where the buying support is, and then hopefully, if conditions are right and sellers are prepared to send the market lower, then we will get a sell signal, which should be our first micro-macro cross signal. Not a whole lot of follow through on that just yet. Let's take a look here at crude oil, where we're getting a red bar buy signal in our hawk. Now what's interesting about this is the red bar buy is not the strongest looking signal on your hawk tool. In fact, it's the type of signal that we could trade counter trend if we chose. But what are we lacking here in this recent move by crude oil? Well, we're missing a test of the extreme, aren't we? Before we can expect crude oil prices to head much lower, we need to see a test of the extreme. Now, the fact that crude has come straight down here without any hesitation, that makes this a better opportunity to look for a test of the extreme. This is actually a pretty good looking trade the way this is setting up. So we're getting our warning dots. If this current bar finishes higher, it will print a triangle hash mark. The red bar buy, because it is a signal that can fail, it is a signal that I'm going to be more aggressive on the entry. It's the type of trade you can get in. You can do a little hit and run. So we're looking for this little bit of a poke higher. It might resume the trend entirely. In fact, we could put a runner on here. Let's see if they give me a chance to do that. Are they going to wait for me? Let's see. Oh, sure, there they go. Oh, they didn't give me a chance to do my... Yeah, I did it all. Oh, no, I got my runner in play. There we go. So we're in with two contracts. We're going to take profit on the first target, and then we'll see whether or not we get a higher push here. And I might go with something like parabolics when the market turns around a little. So when you get a situation like this is a much higher probability trade than the mess that we were looking at in the NQ. Because we actually have an idea here what this market needs to do next before it can head much lower. Now, of course, we're always talking probabilities, right? The market doesn't have to do anything. Come on, get up there. Oh, come on. Don't leave me hanging. Oh, come on. Just the markets, I tell you, when they're quiet, normally a test of the extreme needs to look a little bit more substantial, right? Like This here would be a test of the extreme of the lows. That's a serious test on the part of the sellers. In fact, they tried it again right here. Right here were the lows. They tried to recover it one more time, then it finally failed and turned into a first micro macro cross, and the market went higher. So we need to see a more serious test of the extreme. Crude oil traders just don't know it yet. All right, well, we'll put that back. And now it looks like the NQ is rallying a bit off of this hard edge bounce. Don't tell me that I got nailed for, well, I guess my stop was up here. I was going to say for 2 points they took me out. That would be very rude. We are getting a first micro macro cross signal here on the hawk. We know this tends to be a pretty reliable signal. You know what though, the way the market is right now, I think I'm going to take it below the low, and I'm going to roll my stop a little bit deeper. In fact, what I might do, the way the market is, I think I might dial down the risk amount even, and maybe even set a runner. Okay, folks, I'm going to be right back. Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? Not a whole lot. Oh my gosh, is my data feed still on? This is painful, folks. This is like summer, August type trading. In fact, I think last August was even more active than this. We're just getting too much back and forth nonsense. Okay, so what I'm going to do now on my hawk trade, because it's the first micro-macro cross signal, I'm actually going to adjust my entry to be a little bit more aggressive. Can I risk it way up there? Oh, I can. It'd just be on a single contract, however. Why don't we? Why don't we see if we can't turn this into a big runner if, in fact, it does head lower. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to give this trade the greatest chance of success just because the market's been so choppy all morning. So we've broken outside of this range. I can always add to my position. In fact, I can get an order ready right down here to add. So the higher this market goes, once again, it's the test of the extreme type scenario that we're looking for, right? Before this market reverses and heads higher, I should see it make another attempted move lower to test this low. How do I know that? Well, the sellers managed to break outside of this range. They're not going to walk away from this market entirely. The higher they go, the less likely it will be that the sellers do have control of the market, and the more likely it will be that the buyers will take the market back. Okay, our crude oil trade, in spite of what should have happened, did not. Here's the crude oil trade that we were looking at. Here was the test of the extreme, or what we thought was going to be the test of the extreme. This should have resulted in at least enough of a move higher to reach our first profit target, but it did not. The market went up there, promptly failed, came back, broke the trend line. On the second push, they got high enough to hit our profit target, scoundrels. That's rare, though, folks. It's rare that this move right here would not have resulted in a proper test of the extreme. Unfortunately, this was one of those times where it did just that. Now we're getting a first micro-macro cross to the downside. Similar situation to what we're looking at the NASDAQ. I know there's buying down here. So even though my hash mark is going to print right here, I'm almost a little bit more comfortable entering below the lowest low. How many ticks do I need to give up? Well, I need to give up almost half my profit objective. Now, as we trade higher, however, it becomes more to my advantage to enter a little earlier. The logic is the same. If the sellers are truly interested in recovering this market, they're going to have to do it sooner rather than later. Otherwise, the buyers have control and the buyers will take the market away and continue to rally prices. However, if the sellers really do have control of the market, then they're going to have to push it lower. And like the NASDAQ trade, I could set up to enter another position below these lows. So I don't have to go in all at once, especially when the market is acting the way it is today. You know, we've seen days where the market is more predictable, the signals are more reliable, and then we see days like today. Okay, it's now turning into a macro pullback signal. I don't like that it's moved into yellow bars, but why? Well, because yellow bars show a sideways range. You see here, well, let me go back to the NQ. Here's the NASDAQ. You see all these yellow bars we've been printing through here? That shows a lot of sideways action. Now, here with the NQ, we're also printing a macro pullback. And this reaction is coming still off of this zone. We don't want to play these lines too tight. However, if it starts drifting any higher and goes back into yellow bars, well then all bets are off. There will be a move coming, but it may not be this morning. In fact, I halfway hope it does go into yellow bars, just to remove any temptation and just to confirm that the market is in fact still dead neutral. Yeah, you're doing it to me one more time. Here we go. Now you can see we should have a test of the extreme here, which is why I keep bringing my entry order in a little more. And now we're into yellow bars. We'll see if that bar finishes yellow. If it does, then this little poke through here was merely a test to see if, in fact, there was any selling down here. All right, well, we'll park that for the moment. Oh, sorry, I was sitting on my mute button. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, no, sorry guys, it was me. I was, if you're doing a volume analysis, you can do it either on a volume chart, like what we were looking at, or you can go here to your tools and you can create a market analyzer. And that market analyzer allows you to, well, compare different things on the chart. So here we're still waiting for the average volume to build, but we can adjust our columns. Daily volume we have. Well, you can put in pretty much anything you want, and it enables you to compare everything by looking at the numbers, comparing the numbers, the daily volume against the average daily volume. But I'm not entirely sure why that hasn't printed yet. Okay, crude oil. Wow, big reversal on crude oil. They put in a big rally. Here's the Falcon. We got some warning dots, a double dot signal down here. Honestly, I would not have taken the double dot signal. I would have waited for it to give me a with trend signal. Of course, that didn't occur just yet. Well, I honestly don't think we're going to have much to trade here this morning. The best looking trade right now was this test of the extreme here off of this red bar buy on crude oil. That one failed. But that looks like that was the best signal that we've had this morning. Still nursing our E-mini trade that we took early. This is here on the Eagle off of that red bar buy. Still looking for that test of the extreme. 2105, major obstacle for this market. It's not a typical Monday. Normally Mondays are very active, and this Monday is quite subdued. We get a move higher and a move lower, but nothing sustained. Well, folks, we might hang in for a few more minutes, and then I think we're going to wrap things up. If you're going to be trading this afternoon, I think this afternoon holds more promise than this morning did. But as far as direction goes, I would have been inclined to say lower, but here we are getting a trend change signal now on our Falcon on the NQ. So we've got the warning dot. We're waiting for the triangle and hash mark to print. It looks like those should print if it continues higher. 44, 42, 43 in that area, which is just about that same region where the market got knocked down the last time. So probably one that I would want to dial my risk back on a little bit. And sure enough, here we go. We're going to print 44.41. And look at that, they're starting to tail off a little bit. Okay, I'm going to throw that order in and anticipate a triangle and hash mark. Normally with the Falcon, I like to wait for it because there is a possibility I can print two bars here with dots, with warning dots. Okay, so they're starting to get knocked down there. Let's go back here to the E-mini just for a moment. And you can see 2105. I told you that was going to be a big level. And they're starting to gang up on them at 2105. The sellers, I mean. All right, you guys, let's close up the room a few minutes early. I've got an appointment with Adam shortly, so I want to get ready for that. And hopefully, if you're trading this afternoon, things will loosen up a little bit. I would be more inclined, I think, to be a seller than a buyer. It's just, I don't know, the market seems reluctant either way, and when it's reluctant to move either way, it's normally easier to sell than it is to buy. Yeah, crude oil still going sideways too. I don't know if the weather's nice where you live, you might be just as well off going outside having a walk. Come back this afternoon. All right, you guys, we will talk to you again tomorrow, and hopefully things will be a little bit more productive. We'll talk to you then.